Welcome to Football Scientific. I am Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub and the CFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas and the UFL. I cover the Hamilton Tiger-Cats and the CFL. I cover the IFL, the Indoor Football League. I cover the NAL, the National Arena League, and the ELF, the European League of Football. Today we're going to go through some news and notes and game reviews from today and last night for the NAL, the IFL, and the UFL, although the Birmingham Stallions and Michigan Panthers are still currently playing here to start the kickoff week 2 of the UFL season. So the Stallions are winning as I had predicted. Okay, so joining me is my co-host Wolfie D. What? Wolfie D in the house! Wolfie D! Okay, so to get us started, Wolfie D, let's take a look at what the Shreveport Rougarou did last night in Idaho. Rougarou! You may not want to celebrate that much. They didn't get the job done. Dang. Yep, dang. Okay, all right. So last night, the Shreveport Rougarou, who are 1-1 the NAL, visited the 0-2 Idaho Horsemen. I really felt this was going to be a tough game for both teams. Both teams need a win here. Shreveport would have moved into a tie for first place in the American Conference. Idaho, they bounced. They had a good week 2 weeks ago against Omaha Beef. They lost 28-24, but they're winless, and they really need to get a win to get back into the National Conference race. So last night, Idaho Horsemen came out, played a strong game. Okay, traditionally they play with empty set. They don't do a lot of running other than their quarterback. Quarterback Giovanni Sanders came out and went 16 for 27 for 143 yards. He threw 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He ran the ball 5 times for 22 yards and got a rushing touchdown. He had a QBR of 98. That's a really good game for Giovanni. That's his best game of the season. Wide receiver Kyler Glenn had 4 catches, 52 yards, and 3 touchdowns from Giovanni Sanders. Wide receiver Calvin Lowe. He had 1 catch for 6 yards for a touchdown. Overall, the Idaho Horsemen played their best game of the season. They came out, they looked good on offense. They did a better job on defense than they normally do. Shreveport Rougarou were led by quarterback Guillermo Serrano. He went 17 for 34, not as efficient as Giovanni Sanders. He threw for 184 yards, more production. He threw for 3 touchdowns, but what got them in a bad spot was 2 interceptions. So when you throw an extra interception, you're going to put yourself behind. That's how the Indoor Football League, or the NAL, Indoor Football League, AF1, the L word, that when you turn the ball over, you're going to get scored on. He had a QBR of 71. In my mind, their advantage was their running game. But their running back, Kayvon Samuel, only ran the ball 6 times for 34 yards, so they really couldn't take advantage of their running game. It could have went either way in my mind. You know, Shreveport, they're 1-1. They beat the Wheeling Miners, and no one's not beat the Wheeling Miners. They're 0-3. They're going to Carolina tomorrow. They'll probably be 0-4, honestly. Shreveport Rougarou, the only game they played is they got beat by the Omaha Beef. You know, they got slammed down 50-18. Idaho Horsemen, they have a weird combination of things. They lost the Sioux City Bandits. They kind of got beat like 20 points there. They really couldn't score. They played the Omaha Beef. So will Omaha Beef fire their head coach, even though the Beef won by 4 points. That was not acceptable for them. And then they took it one step further and beat the Shreveport Rougarou. So they really seem to be ascending right now. They're tied with the Colorado Spartans in the number 3 spot in the National Conference of the NAL. They might put themselves in a spot. You know, if the Omaha Beef struggle with a coaching change after this week, they could go out and struggle against the Beaumont Renegades. Beaumont looks pretty good, although they haven't played very much. Idaho might put themselves in the middle of things. Big win for Idaho Horsemen. Food. In the NAL, the Carolina Cobras released wide receiver Brentley Allen. Okay, they play tomorrow against Wheeling Miners. They've been making a lot of personnel changes after beating the Columbus Lions. Looks like they're trying to fine-tune their roster. This NAL tends to be a revolving door personnel. Same with the IFL. It's just a revolving door personnel, so you got to really work hard to keep up. So we'll see if Carolina Cobras come out and get their next win. That would put them at 3-1, and they would be, definitely first place in the American Conference. Although Columbus would be at 2-1, so it's gonna be a tough race over there for the 2 playoff spots. Boop. but not if the Rougarou can't get it going. The Beaumont Renegades were really kind of the wrench in the American Conference plot. Okay, in the IFL, there was an upset tonight. The Fishers Freight hosting their first ever home game in Fishers, Indiana. They played the Tulsa Oilers. I knew it was going to be a defensive battle. I knew both offenses would probably produce a little bit, but Fishers Freight came out and played better offense than Tulsa Oilers, and they got their first home win with a 40-29 win over the Tulsa Oilers. They played good defense, and their quarterback made less mistakes, and that's where you're at. Fumble at the goal line by T.J. Edwards when they were trying to get back in the game in the first half, really put them in a spot, and then they got worse from there. They did make a push to come back at the end, but they came up short. Big win for Fishers, okay? Huge win for Fishers, 2-0. I mentioned Indiana fans tend to be fickle. I have a lot of experience coaching in Indiana, and they tend to be fickle. If you're winning, they're going to support you. If you start losing, they're going to not support you. So it's really important, I think, for the Fishers Freight to look good there. And they got a huge win. I got Tulsa, the second best team in the Eastern Conference behind Jacksonville. I guess Fishers Freight are going to get that spot now. San Antonio, a bunch of transactions in the IFL before the games this weekend. Tomorrow, Sunday, okay. San Antonio Gunslingers, they have moved wide receiver DJ Myers onto the short-term IR list, injured reserves of IR list. They taken D lineman Ulrich Jones and moved into their short-term IR list, and then they picked up wide receiver Callie Rashad off the IR list, so he's been activated. And they had Naquan Murray, who was a good receiver for him last year, activated from the IR list. So they're moving some pieces around, trying to get another win. The Bay Area Panthers released offensive lineman Dejon Stuckey. He did not play well last week. They got beat by San Antonio, and that defense of San Antonio was a big difference maker. Okay, Vegas Nighthawks signed kicker Paul Ortiz. If you remember last week, they signed kicker Dante Brown. He struggled. He struggled in the indoor game. It's very tight goalposts. It's hard to hit kicks there. So they released him, and they picked up Paul Ortiz Jr. The Jacksonville Sharks released offensive lineman Bryant Nolan Jr. They're going to play the Nighthawks. We'll see how that looks this week. The Iowa Barnstormers signed defensive lineman Jared Johnson, and they released defensive lineman Rashad Colson. Okay, so they just moved those pieces around. Iowa Barnstormers are trying to make a push so they can give the Quad City Steamrollers a good battle this week in a rivalry game. Quad City Steamrollers, they have moved defensive lineman Chima Dunga to short-term IR and defensive back Sajay Parney to the short-term IR, and they activated offensive lineman Tyrone Patterson from the short-term IR, and they activated defensive back Nicholas Harris from the short-term IR. So we're going to see if that makes any difference. I believe the Quad City Steamrollers are going to win that game by a small amount, but I'm on one for the week in the NAL and the IFL, so hopefully we can get this turned around. On the UFL, okay, a couple days ago, DC Defenders, they released offensive guard Lamont Galliard. They picked up a lineman from the last couple years for them, better player, a guy who's been an all-XFL guy, but they re-signed him last night. They re-signed Lamont Galliard last night, and they moved him to the injured reserve list. He'll be out for 5 weeks. So I guess he got hurt. That's why they released him and brought the other guy back. And then they're like, well, we can still use you in 5 weeks. So they brought him back, and now he's moved to injured reserve. Also, I don't think you can't release a player that's injured, I believe, if I remember that right. So I guess that's why they brought him back. They were like, wait, we can't really just cut you because you're injured. Okay. Right now, probably entering the fourth quarter, the Birmingham Stallions are bouncing back from last week's disaster against the DC Defenders, against the Michigan Panthers. They were up 12-0 when I started this video. Alex Magoo for the Birmingham Stallions got injured on the first play. He's been out since. Matt Corral stepped in, and he's just managing the game. This game is all about the defensive lines right now. Defensive line, Birmingham's dominating defensive line. Offensive line's blending the game. Quarterback for them, Matt Corral's just managing the game, not making big mistakes. For some inexplicable reason, the Michigan Panthers started Danny Etling. They should have been starting Bryce Perkins. He's a much better player, and their defensive line has been good, keeping them in the game. It was 6-0 at halftime. It was 12-0 when I started making the video. We'll see what it is afterwards. Okay, that will put me at 1-0 for the UFL. That'd be good. I need some wins there. CFL Saskatchewan Roughriders have signed American defensive lineman Aaron Patrick. He had played for the Denver Broncos, but decided he got mad at the NFL and decided to sue them. So it's kind of been blacklisted, and now he's in the CFL Saskatchewan Roughriders. Toronto Argonauts global punter John Haggerty, who plays for Western Kentucky, has signed with the Toronto Argonauts. He's from Australia. That's why he's global. BC Lions released American wide receiver Alexander Hollins. Remember, they were involved in an injury thing where they released him when they weren't supposed to, and he got his bonus back from the CFL. Calgary Stampeders released American defensive back Tyler Bolivar Williams. He played North Carolina State. They released him. Okay, all right. Ottawa Red Blacks. Yesterday, they extended head coach Bob Dice for a one-year contract. He was coming into his last year of his contract. Last year, the Ottawa Red Blacks were 7-1-1 at home. They went 9-8-1 and made the playoffs for the first time in a couple of years. So Bob Dice is doing a good job there. So they rewarded him with an extra year on his contract. Dude, congratulations to Coach Dice. Okay, the NFL, the big news of the NFL today was University of Colorado showcased the Pro Day. Tennessee Titans, New York Giants, Cleveland Browns were all there looking at Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. I guess Shedeur Sanders went 58 for 63 in his throws. There was 3 balls that were dropped, so he really only missed 2 throws in that, although it was kind of designed. I saw some people complain about him patting the ball too much and too many hitches. That's going to get you hit in the mouth in the NFL. This was in no contact, no pads or anything. Travis Hunter ran routes, and he had a big route day and looked pretty good. 40-yard dash, Shedeur Sanders ran a 4.56, which is about what I expected, I guess. He's not really a dual threat quarterback. He's more of a pocket passer, but 4.56 is good for a pocket passer for sure. Okay, Buffalo Bills, they have laid the last steel beam on their new stadium, Highmark Stadium, so they're going to be locked into, the community of Buffalo for a long time. They've always been threatening to go to Toronto because they wanted a new stadium. Well, they got the new stadium. It's finished. Good job. Okay, Atlanta Falcons, quarterback Kirk Cousins will not be attending voluntary camp. We kind of already knew that from head coach Raheem Morris. He said he didn't expect him to show up. Kirk Cousins would like to be the starter or go somewhere else, but the Falcons are saying, we're not going to send you somewhere else unless someone's going to pay the majority of your monstrous contract. So the Falcons made a mistake of overpaying Kirk Cousins when they didn't really, they found that they didn't really want him coming off an injury in Minnesota. They would like to get rid of him, but they don't want to be stuck with the bill when they get rid of him. So they're trying to get someone to take the bill. Why would you do that? If you're a team right now, why would you do that? Just let the Falcons keep him and not play him and waste all that money. Well, I would not make a deal. I would not make a deal for Kirk Cousins if I'm an NFL team. I'd let the Falcons deal with their own mess. Arizona Cardinals re-signed veteran offensive tackle Kelvin Beachum to a one-year contract. LA Chargers reached an agreement with quarterback Trey Lance. Remember, Trey Lance was at Dallas. He got released. The Saskatchewan Roughriders took a shot and put him on a negotiation list, and there was a big, Adam Schefter said he had signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. No one believed that. It was negotiation list. This is before April Fools. It wasn't. Adam Schefter was just wrong. He has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to the CFL. He's an NFL insider, but he's not a CFL insider. But he works for ESPN, so he thinks he knows it all. That's the weakness of Adam Schefter. He's kind of a jerk. Okay. LA Chargers, they reached agreement with quarterback Trey Lance, so Saskatchewan Roughriders, you lose that competition predictably. Okay, he signed a one-year contract for $6.2 million with the LA Chargers. So now they have quarterback number 1, Justin Herbert, and then they have Taylor Heineke and Trey Lance. Dallas Cowboys, Las Vegas Raiders, New England Patriots are all looking at former Seahawks receiver Tyler Lockett. They all need an average receiver who's going to be injury prone. So they can all use a player like that. It fits their culture. For the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Cowboys, they have an injury prone receiver that is overrated. Dallas Cowboys worked out offensive lineman Sadiq Charles. He's coming out of retirement. He retired. He's coming out. But he got to work out with the Cowboys. They'll probably sign him. They need some offensive linemen after some changes made this offseason. Denver Broncos are expected to sign a contract with linebacker DeAndre Tillman. Okay, exclusive rights deal and such, rights tender. That means he's going to sign with them. Kansas City Chiefs signed defensive end Jamarion Robinson. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers hosted quarterback Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, safety Nick Emmanuyori from South Carolina, wide receiver Jalen Noel from Iowa State, and defensive lineman Jermaine Caldwell from Oregon. They're just looking at guys for draft picks, trying to get to know them before they make some decisions. Boom. New York Jets signed safety Tony Adams. Okay, in the European League of Football, the Hamburg Sea Devils were working to try and get themselves back into playoff contention, which is going to be tough. They play in a tough division in the North Division of European League of Football, the Nordic Storm and the Rhine Fire and the Berlin Thunder and the Hamburg Sea Devils. They went to the first two ELF championship games with Glenn Tunge as their running back, but they have not been back since. They haven't been back to the playoffs since losing the second one. So they're trying to get back at it. The Munich, they had a quarterback, Micah Leon. He's supposed to be their starting quarterback this year. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Unlike the quarterback last year. And then they signed linebacker Henry Hobson. They're just trying to take care of their defensive front. That's smart. O-line, D-line, defensive backs, quarterback, and then those linebackers would help your defensive line. Okay. Munich Ravens signed linebacker Dexter Fitzpatrick. Is the second American import for the Munich Ravens. They have not announced their first one, but you're allowed to make so many American imports a year. So Munich Ravens added one. So they're trying to get back to the playoffs and maybe make a run to the championship. Okay, so with that in mind, it's a pretty fast review. I was looking to get back to the Birmingham Stallions game. Fast review what happened today in football, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can get things better for the NAL. Hopefully Carolina will win tomorrow. Hopefully we'll win some of these IFL games and the rest of the UFL games. We'll see what it looks like though as we go. You never know. It's the world of football. You never know. Okay. Thanks for joining Football Scientific. Thanks for joining me and Wolfie D. Wolfie D in the house. Check out our music video for Gridiron and Grit by Wolfie D and Corky. And we'll be back tomorrow with a short report, and then we will have a long report on Sunday, I believe, after we get these IFL results and UFL results and stuff. So. Short report today, short report tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Have a great night. Remember, check out UFL articles on UFL News Hub and CFL articles on CFL News Hub. Check out my Substack, Football Scientific. If you like the video, like it. If not, don't like it. And then subscribe to the channel, and then we will not check those stats. We don't worry about it, okay? Have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Bye.